It's time to pull those belts tight, race fans. The front stretch is coming at you, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Now, here's Dan Taylor and Dirk Houston.
Good morning, race fans, and welcome to the front stretch presented by Joe's Karting at Council Bluffs. Online at joeskarting.com. That is karting with a K. Get to Joe's today. Fast-paced, white knuckle, Honda, eco-friendly engine racing right here in Council Bluffs. The best indoor karting facility, and I believe it would be the fastest indoor karting facility in our area. Get to Joe's today, 23rd Avenue in Council Bluffs, in the same area as Quaker Steak and Lube. AMC 17. Is it SLAMC? Yeah, AMC 17. It changes, that theater changes hands so often. Joe's Karting at Council Bluffs. Easiest way, find them on YouTube. Find them on Google. You can do the whole Google searching machine or joeskarting.com. Well, Dirk's feeling a little under the weather today, so I'm flying solo, and I've packed the show full of a ton of interviews. Chad Robb, Mr. Fantasy, is going to join me in turn number 4 to talk about fantasy tips for NASCAR racing. In turn number 3, we're going to talk to Jeff Fink, driver of the 01F at Shelby County Speedway and Crawford County Speedway, about his accident at Shelby County Speedway on June 6th. Then in turn number 2, we're going to talk to the driver of the number 19 Brad Keselowski Ford F-150 in the Truck Series, Tyler Reddick. He's going to get us ready for Iowa Speedway. And in turn number 1, which happens to be right now, Curtis Spracklin of I-29 Dragway and Joey Heichel. Oh my, I messed it up. Did I get it right? Heichel.
Yep.
I did. I got it right. How about that? I wrote it out phonetically, and I still screwed it up. That's the kind of announcing skills you're going to get out of me, ladies and gentlemen. How you guys doing this morning?
Great.
Doing fantastic. Thanks for having us again.
Well, you guys have a heck of a race coming up on Friday, June 19th at I-29 Dragway. Joey, you kind of organized this no prep heads up race. What? Help me out. What is that?
Basically what that is the track normally puts down a traction compound to make all the cars hook as best as possible. But this particular event is sort of going to be like a street atmosphere. They're not going to put anything down. It will just be as you drive up on a normal day. And the heads up means that it's run what you brung and no bracket racing. Just you race the other guy. First guy to the stripe wins.
Are we racing for pink slips?
No. There's quite a bit of payout involved, and we can go over some of that a little bit later. Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of money involved.
Curtis, he was talking about the chemical that you guys put down for traction. Is it Coca-Cola? Because I've seen those guys use it in the NASCAR series on pit road. They'll spray the pit box down with Coca-Cola, kind of get the tires to stick a little better. Is that what you guys are using, is Coca-Cola?
No, we actually use the chemical compounds out on the market today. There's a couple different ones. We currently use VP Lane Choice 7 for our traction compound. There's also VHT PJ1, but it's substantially more expensive. And so far, I've developed a way to make the Lane Choice 7 work exceptionally well at our track, and
Good.
Most racers are happy with that. But this is one time I just get to save that money and watch these guys get a little crazy when they go down track, because they go all out.
Have you ever tried Coca-Cola?
I never have personally.
I'm just saying, it'll take rust off bumpers. It'll clean up batteries. It take the corrosion off of batteries. It'll eat away at your stomach lining. Why not? I mean, it's the miracle chemical that we love to drink.
It might work. I don't know. I've never tried it. It'd be interesting to try one time, though.
Isn't it amazing the amount of things that they're finding that Coca-Cola will do, and people still drink it?
Yeah.
Listen, I drink Dr. Pepper all day long. I can only imagine what that thing does with 23 different flavors in it. But we're talking about the no prep heads up race coming up this Friday at I-29 Dragway. Gates open at 5 o'clock. Talk to me about some of the classes, Joey. A big tire, small tire. We're talking about width of the tire, more traction, more speed, more get up and go.
Yeah, obviously starting with big tire is the largest tire you can fit. There's no limit on those. And we're only allowing door cars, which means, no dragsters, nothing of that sort. The vehicles need to have doors. It kind of keeps it more of a level playing field than some guy just coming out and blowing everybody's doors off. The small tire is another class that allows slicks and tires of any sort, except only as large as a 29.5 tall and 10.5 width. So anything smaller than that you can race with in that class.
Okay. And then the drag radials and street tires, those are the other two divisions?
Yeah, drag radial is kind of a mix between a slick and a street tire. It looks like a street tire on the outside, except the tire compound's a little bit softer, and that's more of a street legal tire that still can provide a lot of traction. The width requirement we have on those is 345 millimeters. They actually judge those tires on that, which is otherwise 13.5 inches wide.
Okay. And payouts looks like, is it going to be winner take all, 100% payout for the winners?
It depends on the car count, but we might pay out to second or third. Right now, we have quite a bit of sponsors that have given us a guaranteed payout. What that offers is that those guys from out of town now can see, hey, I have a chance to win this much already. And then on top of that, all the entries go towards the payout as well.
I was saying also I-29 is guaranteed $2,000 extra into the pot on this particular one because the first one did exceptionally well, better than we thought.
Awesome. And it sounds like Dragon Race Fuels, the Shop Inc., Performance and Dyno Tuning, LSX, Automotive Performance, and Vern's Body Shop. Those are guys that have stepped up to help this out. Is there still time for sponsors to get involved and kind of help sweeten the pot?
Actually, those are the sponsors for each class.
Okay.
So they're pretty much filled. We do accept event sponsors that help out with other costs such as T-shirts and flyers and stuff like that. And I'm sure we're going to be having more of these coming on, so we could always accept others for those events later on down the road.
And how can people get a hold of you to start working that out?
You can either message the event Facebook page, or I'm on there, Joey Heichel, and you can get a hold of me that way as well.
All right, so I'm a spectator. I am coming to I-29 Dragway for the second time in my career. I had an absolute ball the first time I went out there. It was the Geezer's Hot Rod Show, I believe.
Yeah, last
Does that
year.
sound familiar?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm coming out there on Friday, June 19th, 5 o'clock. What am I in line for? What's going to happen?
Well, first of all, it's only $5 to get in. A lot of people think, a big event like this, it's going to be a lot more money than the normal price, but the track officials have stepped up in that department, and they just want to keep it at the same $5 all the time, which is exceptionally cheap for most stuff.
That's really important. I think I've talked about it before on this show, and I've talked about it to a lot of dirt tracks around here that try to go $8, $9, $10 for a weekly racing show. And I said, the most important thing I've heard, or the best thing I've heard from somebody that's trying to compete for entertainment dollars was Marty Cordero, who's the general manager for the Omaha Storm Chasers. Said, I absolutely have to make a night at my baseball game cheaper than a night out at the movies. And it has to move along faster than that too. Most movies are about 2 hours long. If somebody has to sit in my seats for 3.5 hours, I'm not getting them back. And if they got to pay more than that, I'm not getting them back. So that's great that you guys are doing that $5 because that makes a huge difference when it comes to entertainment dollars. If I could bring most people nowadays have a clan, not a nuclear family, 5 or 6 kids, and it gets expensive to bring all those little rugrats out to the races.
I agree totally. This year when we made a decision to lower it from $10 back down to $5, that was kind of our philosophy behind it was let's hope we can bring some volume, get some concession sales, give people a little more money they can spend at the track instead of spending it to get into the track, and then be able to enjoy the programs a lot better. And so far it's worked out pretty good this year.
The No Prep, Heads Up, Run What You Brung race, drag racing series at I-29 Dragway this coming Friday. Gates open at 5 o'clock. What time's the first tree lights drop? Is that adequate? Is that a good turn? Is that did I fake my way through that good
This
enough?
particular one has one light.
One light.
Okay.
That means go.
Yep.
There's no,
No
blinking
Christmas tree.
Okay, no
It's
Christmas.
like
That's
TV,
it. Christmas
like a
tree. That's what I'm
flashlight,
thinking
but
of.
rather than us having somebody out in front of them, we didn't want that, so we built a single bulb on top of our pole that holds the Christmas tree.
Okay.
And the guy gets them ready in their spots, walks up behind them, flicks like a light switch at home, and boom, one green LED, and you go.
You really got to be on your game then.
Oh, yeah.
There's no getting ready, go. It's
Nope.
go.
It's just right now.
Of course, that's kind of like me at any stoplight. I'm kind of a little hard on the brake, a little on the gas, waiting for that baby to switch, and then I'm off on my Ranger. So what time's the first race kickoff?
The driver's meeting is at 7, so that probably will take 20 minutes or so, and we'll go over the starting procedure and everything so everybody's aware of how it goes, since it is different than a normal drag racing night. But I imagine that it might start 7:30-ish or so.
Okay. So about 7:30.
Probably run a few cars down the track around 6:30, 7 o'clock, and that's the street radio class, which is 100% pure street tire guys. They're able to make test runs. The other ones are all no test passes, just show and go.
And it sounds like for these guys, for the big class, I'm assuming that the big tire is kind of the premier class. $100 to get in, the small tire, $50 to get in, drag radial $50. If you've got a street tire, $5.
Mm-hmm.
That's
$5 up above the $20
that's a typo,
tech
right?
card.
That's a typo, right?
That's correct. $5 extra above the $20 tech card.
Wow, that's not. You do require a $20 tech card for each car. I-29 Dragway in Pacific Junction. You can find them on Facebook. How can they find your organization there, Joey?
You can search on Facebook, No Prep Heads Up event at I-29 Dragway, and I'm the host on there if you guys had any questions. Otherwise, you can post on the event as well and ask your question.
All right, the gates open at 5 o'clock. Sounds like we're going to do some test runs at about 6:30, and then the first official competitive about 7:30, 7:35, somewhere around in that area. And I'm not going to mention that word because it's bad luck, but just in case something were to happen, there is a backup date of the next day on Saturday, June 20th, to be able to make that day up.
Yes, that is correct.
All righty, guys. Appreciate you joining me in the studio. Again, Curtis Spracklin of I-29 Dragway and Joey Heichel of No Prep Heads Up Racing. Appreciate you guys joining me.
All right,
Thank
Dan,
you.
I appreciate it. Appreciate you having us again, and keep your ears open. We will have 2 more this year for sure. That's what's on our schedule.
Yeah, after this, what's the next event that we're going to get people ready for?
The next event that we will have will be the, I believe it was July 12th or 11th. I don't remember the exact date, but that's our basically our Night of Fire, which we just have one jet car once again, and we have a few other exhibitions there. And I believe on that one, is that the Ice Cream Cruise one as well?
The Ice Cream Cruise is on August 1st.
Okay.
August 1st.
First
That will
and
be our
second,
next
I
one
believe.
with the heads up that will be involved in that as well.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
All right, thank you.
Well, we've got a few more minutes left until we take a break and head into turn number 2 and talk to Tyler Reddick. So I figured I'd take the opportunity to go back and get you guys some of the play-by-play action from Johnny Gibson, the announcer for the World of Outlaws. And by the way, a big thank you goes out to Joe's Karting. We talk about them being a presenting sponsor of the show, and because of their support and because a lot of the support of the sponsors like Kaziski Auto Parts, Quaker Steak and Lube, and World of Outlaws, we're able to purchase remote equipment to be able to grab audio from Johnny Gibson's broadcast. We're able to go down to the pits and get interviews from drivers, and because of great sponsors, we're able to do stuff like this and bring you this great audio. And so I actually sat up in the booth with Johnny Gibson at the race on June 5th at I-80 Speedway for the World of Outlaws, and I recorded the entire race right out of his microphone, so it's good audio. And for those of you who weren't able to make it out, I'm not trying to rub it in, but man alive, did you miss one of the best races I've seen at I-80 Speedway. And let me tell you, the Charlie Clark Memorial this year was one of the best I've seen at I-80 Speedway. Scott Bloomquist winning at Silver Dollar Nationals last year was one of the best I've seen at I-80 Speedway. Ryan Gustin 2 years ago at the Silver Dollar Nationals trying to win it, but just getting a little too hot and getting the back of Kyle Burke. Amazing racing going on there. And so to say this was one of the best races I've seen really stacks it up to the top of the list of great racing. So without further ado, if you're a fan of ours on the Facebook page, you could see the opening lap. I shot a video of the opening lap in this first accident, which brought out our first caution. Scary accident, and Johnny describes it here after the starting lineup.
Green flag the next time by with the 2L of Daniel Lasowski and the 29 of Kerry Madsen in row 1, 71M Joey Saldana and 21 Brian Brown in row 2, the 2 of Shane Stewart alongside the 18 of Ian Madsen in row 3, 7S Jason Science, 51 Paul McMahon in row 4, the 9 of Darren Pittman, the 11K of Craig Kinzer in row 5, Lasowski and Madsen bring the field to the green flag, and we are underway at I-80. The Madman gets the jump out of turn 4 to lead them down the front straightaway. Madsen cuts to the bottom of the racetrack, entering turn number 1. Brian Brown around the outside of Daniel Lasowski. A trouble car flipping wildly over the fence in turn number 2. back onto the racetrack. It's James McFadden. McFadden upside down in spectacular fashion, very nearly left the ballpark over in turn 2.
And that was no exaggeration. If you could picture sitting in the grandstands at I-80 Speedway and you look off into the middle of turn number 2, you see that giant yellow Jegs sign that is up against the catch fence. He was above that fence, so he got very close to actually exiting the speedway and making it a very horrific accident, but thankfully, because of all the safety equipment, he's able to stay within the racetrack, and he was able to walk away from that accident. All right, we picked the action back up. First restart of the night.
Green flag waves, a slower pace this time. It's still Madsen with the advantage out of turn 4. Lasowski down low into turn 1, and the dude takes the lead. Lasowski drifts high out of turn 2, and now Madsen back to his inside, and Kerry Madsen to the point as they reach turn 3. Madsen on the inside gets back by Lasowski. Kerry Madsen leads the opening lap. We had 4 lead changes in the opening lap.
Yeah, that was insane action. And keep in mind, as I'm going through and playing these clips, that Daniel Lasowski's car just didn't quite seem to go very well on these restarts, and it took about 2 or 3 laps, which made for some of the best racing I've seen in a long time. We continue as the action picks back up. Johnny Gibson calls our second caution of the night.
Ian Madsen and Jason Sides going at it for the third spot. Trouble right in front of the leader. Car spinning in turn number 2. Under caution looks to be the 44 of Chris Martin sitting sideways over in turn number 2, and it happened right in front of the leader. Kerry Madsen, not much of a problem getting by, but boy, Daniel Lasowski had to take some evasive action to the outside of the spun car.
While cleaning up the caution and the cars were going around, Johnny Gibson got the radio call from the inside the pits that there was trouble for one of our strong contenders of the night, Ian Madsen.
Flat right rear tire on the 18 of Ian Madsen. Ian Madsen with the right rear tire down. Madsen runs third, and looks like Madsen will be headed to the work area. Ian Madsen will give up the third position to head to the work area in car number 18.
And according to the World of Outlaw rules, Ian Madsen had 2 minutes to get that tire changed. He would head to the back of the field. Unfortunately, despite how good his car was at the front of the field, he just wasn't able to make up much ground at the back of the field. And we continue with our next clip as we get to our second restart, and the leaders are going at it every single lap.
Kerry Madsen, the leader from the outside of the front row. We go back to green. Down the front stretch into turn 1. Lasowski slides Madsen, but Madsen keeps the momentum up. Brian Brown to the top side of the speedway by Paul McMahon, by Jason Sides. Brownie into third. Sides to the inside. Here comes Lasowski. The big slide job in 3 and 4. New leader, Danny Lasowski on lap number 6.
We pick up the action just a few moments later for our third caution.
Brian Brown around the outside of Kerry Madsen. Now Brian Brown into second. Jason Sides to the inside of Madsen looking for third. Paul McMahon will make it 3 wide for third down the front straightaway. Jason Sides down low. He'll take the third spot away. Kerry Madsen on the top of the racetrack now running fourth. Paul McMahon in fifth. Brian Brown slides high out of turn 2, and Jason Sides moves into second. Brian Brown spun the wheels exiting turn 2, and Jason Sides capitalized. Sides now into second as Danny Lasowski starts to pull away a 1 3/4 second advantage for the Big Game Motorsports number 2L. Brian Brown trying to come back at Jason Sides, but again, it's slick on the top side exiting turn 2. Caution on the speedway, car sideways on the top in turn 1. It's Dakota Hendrickson in the 5H.
I don't know if you guys are getting excited like I am, but my legs are tapping. I mean, he is such an amazing announcer and doing such a great job of relaying the action on the track, so that even if you're listening on your radio and you're not seeing it as we're replaying it now, you're still getting excited because these guys are just trading slide jobs and they're running side by side. It is amazing. Now, as we rejoin the action, Danny Lasowski, keep in mind, again, love to run that low line during the restarts. Brian Brown really had his car hooked up on the high side, which really made for some great side by side action as they're going down the straightaways. Coming out of turn 2, Danny wouldn't be going as fast as Brian on that high side, but then Danny would have the motor and would catch back up. I mean, it was just amazing. And here we pick up more action.
Brian Brown gets by Jason Sides for second on the restart. Sides going to try to come back at him down low in 1 and 2. Shane Stewart, a great restart. Stewart now third as Sides slips to fourth. Danny Lasowski leading it. Brian Brown running second. Shane Stewart in third. Jason Sides fourth, and Paul McMahon fifth. Brownie all over Lasowski for the lead in turns 1 and 2. Brian Brown around the outside of Danny Lasowski to take the lead at the midpoint of the back straightaway. straightaway. Lasowski comes right back at him. Brian Brown slams the door on his uncle in 3 and 4. Lasowski turns it back underneath him, and Lasowski keeps the top spot.
Eventually, the caution would come out for the fourth time for the 13B of Seth Bramer, who lost power along the backstretch. Once again, there was a great battle between Lasowski and Brown before Lasowski really started to find his groove and started to pace the field. As the laps were winding down, though, Donnie Schatz was making his way through the field and has made his way up to second. When the caution comes out, the dude has a 3-second lead over Donnie Schatz, but the caution comes out, erasing that lead, and we will pick up the final 4 laps in the World of Outlaws. Again, the call courtesy of Johnny Benson, the World of Outlaw announcer.
Back underway. Lasowski enters in the middle of 1 and 2. Donnie Schatz goes to the top, then cuts to the bottom to exit the corner. Schatz all over Lasowski into 3 and 4. Lasowski down low. Schatz up top. Schatz with a run on Lasowski down the front straightaway. They bang bumpers at the start-finish line. Schatz to the top in 1 and 2. A run again down the back straightaway. Brian Brown third, Jason Sides fourth, Shane Stewart at fifth. Lasowski on the bottom, Schatz on the top out of turn 4. 2 to go. Lasowski and Schatz side by side. New leader Donnie Schatz into turn 1. Schatz started 13th and has the race lead. Lasowski coming back at him down the backstretch into 3 and 4. Lasowski's going to slide up in front of Schatz and take the lead back. Schatz turns it back underneath him with the white flag. Schatz leads with 1 to go. Lasowski back to the bottom in 1 and 2. Lasowski has the lead back into 3 and 4. It's going to come down to the final corner. Schatz to the top. Lasowski on the bottom. Schatz underneath. Lasowski out of turn 4, but Lasowski has it. Lasowski wins. Lasowski got it back from Donnie Schatz on the final lap.
And at this point, everybody in the crowd is up on their feet. They are screaming and hollering because they got a great final 4 laps, courtesy of the absolute best, the World of Outlaw 410 sprint cars at I-80 Speedway. Still to come on the show, Tyler Reddick, driver of the number 19 Brad Keselowski Ford F-150 in the Camping World Truck Series, will get you ready for Iowa Speedway. Jeff Fink, driver of the 01F Hobby Stock at Shelby County Speedway and Crawford County Speedway, will join us to talk about his big wreck at Shelby County Speedway on June 6th. And Mr. Fantasy Chad Robb will join me to get you ready for the next couple of races in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. This is The Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs has taken a page out of IMCA's rulebook and gone crate. These brand new low-emission engines will still have you white-knuckling it all through the Metro's fastest indoor facility. Joe's Karting is now friendly for all skill levels with their brand new Honda-powered engines. It's time to get to Joe's today and find out what drivers like Jack Dover, Shaylee Bate, and Andrew Kosiski have known for years. Located in Council Bluffs and online at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K.
This is Andrew from Kosiski Auto Parts. Kosiski Auto Parts is an insurance-quality used parts supplier that can match your foreign or domestic car or truck needs. If you have a damaged or broke-down car or truck, we guarantee a clean and quality part in next-day fashion. Kosiski Auto Parts, your neighborhood premium recycled parts supplier. Call any Kosiski Auto Parts salesman today by dialing 402-731-4592 or visit us at 5040 I Street in Omaha. Kosiski Auto Parts, our quality used parts will match your car or truck's needs.
We're hooked up in turn 2 and still showing the green flag on the front stretch.
Welcome back to the front stretch, heading into turn number 2, brought to you by Kosiski Auto Parts, online at 51st and I Street, in person at 51st and I Street, online at Kosiski.com, and by phone 402-731-4592. Get your vehicle back on the road at an affordable price through Kosiski Auto Parts. And joining us now, back on the show for another time. We talked to him about a year ago this time. He is now the full-time driver for the number 19 Brad Keselowski Racing Ford F-150, sponsored by Broken Bow Records. How you doing, sir, Tyler?
I'm doing great, Dan. Thank you for having me again.
Well, I appreciate it, and we had a good conversation with you last time, so I thought, well, let's have another good conversation with them this time. Last time we talked to you, you hadn't got that win under your belt. Now you've got 2 of them.
Yeah, for our year to start off, that fruitfully is pretty outstanding for Brad Keselowski Racing, and for our team to already have 3 years, which is more than what we had last year, it's a great start to the year for both teams.
Is there anything to be said for the fact that you've won at Daytona, which is one completely different style of racing than when you've won at Dover? So you've won at 2 totally different tracks. Is there anything that goes into kind of helping your confidence in your year because you've won at 2 totally different tracks?
It definitely helps a lot. I knew we've had a well-rounded program, and it's 90% of the tracks we go to, and that we have a truck in contention for the win. So it was just really special to be able to to play our cards right, be smart and safe, and we were able to be there at the end of that race to be able to put ourselves in the position to win.
Now, I'm still kind of stuck on, when we talked last time, you were the youngest to do all this stuff, and I'm reading up on more stats of yourself, and I was just absolutely blown away that you're the youngest to start a World of Outlaw race at 13 years old. You had to be absolutely out of your head to be racing that or in that race.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy to be doing what I did at that age, or even what I'm even today, what I'm doing at my age. It's pretty unreal, and not many people my age get to have the opportunity that I've been given. So
yeah,
I really try to take the most advantage of it, and it's something I really enjoy.
At 13, I was still scared of girls, and you're racing with the best in 410 sprint car racers.
Yeah, it's been pretty awesome ride so far. I can't wait. I don't know what's in store next for sure. It just keeps escalating and keeps getting more and more exciting.
We're entering the heat of the summer, and hydration is a big issue for a lot of drivers out there, not just in the NASCAR Touring Series, but a lot of local dirt guys. Is there a procedure you like to go through 24 to 48 hours before the green flag waves?
I mean, I've never really done anything out of the ordinary besides just live my life day to day. What's actually pretty funny, and a lot of people think I'm crazy, but it's starting to become more of a normal now with the NASCAR racing because I have so much time before our race. And I'll honestly eat, I don't know how much food, but before the race, I don't know, I'll eat I can't even begin to describe how much food I eat. I eat a lot of food.
Is it like nervous munchies?
I'll eat at least 8 different times, and I'll eat a bunch of food until I'm full. And about a half hour later, I have time to eat again, and I just eat food all day long. And people think I was going to get sick, but no, I just eat a lot of food. That's something I think that really sticks out of my mind.
Wow. And the Camping World Truck Series schedule has you busy for about 23 race weekends out of the year. Do you fill the rest of those weekends with anything else, or are you kind of just sticking back and focusing solely on the truck ride?
Well, sadly, so far this year, that's all I've really done is just stay. Well, it's not sadly. It's got me 2 wins, so that's not a bad thing, right?
Yeah.
I'm just mainly focused on the Truck Series racing so far this year. I really don't have anything else to really go around and messing with right now. But I have had the opportunity or the option to go run some dirt racing in my late model and some other people's late model equipment and whatnot. But again, it's very easy to get distracted or quite even the worst case, get yourself hurt. So I don't want that to happen. Not as good as our year started out so far. It's just it can be easy to get distracted in ways that you wouldn't think is possible as a race car driver. And with how good this year started so far, I don't want my team or anybody else to feel like I'm getting sidetracked or becoming more focused on other things. We don't get to race so many times a year, but that's okay. I'd rather run really good than really good 23 times a year than race okay, about 100 times a year. So
yeah,
if we can just keep that quality of our performance there, it can be. I'm okay with that.
You guys obviously race usually on Fridays, sometimes on Saturdays, and even sometimes on Sundays. What do you do during the week to keep yourself busy? Are you involved in the shop? Are you going through racing simulations? What's your week like at the shop outside of the racetrack?
Yeah, well, when I first started doing this asphalt racing and everything, I was still living in Illinois with my family. But now, as of last year, I moved out to North Carolina and got myself a lot closer to the race shop and everything else that's going on. And, I just like to have a level of involvement that, I didn't have before when I was first doing it. But when it was my dirt racing and I was doing that, it was, the crew was me, my dad, and a friend or two that would be willing to come and help. So it's on a whole different level than what I was ever used to. Really, I get to go to the shop and learn a lot. I haven't been able to put it to use yet, what I've learned, because the guys just do a really good job all on their own. And luckily, we've been staying busy this year, but we haven't torn up too much equipment, so we haven't been getting behind. So everyone's been pretty much staying up to schedule, and we've been able to take care of business and keep improving.
Who's been your biggest influence when it comes to your racing career so far?
Man, I'd be lying if I wouldn't say it was my father.
Yeah.
He's went above and beyond and done so many things on so many different ways and levels that it's hard to describe them all. He's definitely my number one supporter and fan. He's helped me in so many ways that I probably won't even fully appreciate yet until I'm much older in my life looking back on it. But he does a lot for me, and he continues to do a lot for me. And when you have your family behind you like that, backing you that well, and morally and other ways too, it's really special to have such a good family.
Do you have his Father's Day gift picked out for next weekend yet?
I was thinking a win would do just nicely.
That might do for him. Get a win at Iowa Speedway, and that way you can say, hey, there's your win for you, Dad. There's your Father's Day present.
Yeah, the trophy. That'd be his present. I'm sure he'd like nothing more than that, for sure.
Yeah, that might go a long ways. Obviously the big you have Brad Keselowski as your team owner, a former Sprint Cup champion, and a current driver in the series. Do you ever find yourself picking up on some of his driving styles as you're watching him in practice or throughout the week?
Well, yeah, I feel like it. I would like to think that I drive like him at times. He's a very hard racer, races everyone competitively, and I try to do the very same thing in my racing. And that's what I've learned from watching him race throughout the years. That he races every lap like it's his last, and he gets the fullest he can out of his vehicle. And yeah, he's pretty awesome to be around, and you get the full experience with him.
I'd love to read between that line, but we'll dive into that another time. Having Broken Bow as one of your sponsors, have you ever got to meet Jason Aldean?
Yeah, actually.
You have?
I've known him since way before he even became Jason Aldean. So that's been really cool to see all that happen, and that whole deal progressed the way it has for DVR Music Group and everybody. Back from way back in the early days of my racing, they supported us, and then their deal went big time real fast. That was just a really cool thing to see happen and be a part of.
Talking with Tyler Reddick, driver of the number 19 Brad Keselowski Racing Ford F-150 truck for the Camping World Truck Series. Could you, for me, if you would please, rank in order of importance according to you? Driver, crew chief, and engineer. When it comes to success, when it comes to success for the race team, is what I'm getting at. Because it seems like engineers are getting more and more important these days.
Man, it'd be really hard for me to say one over the other when it's a crew chief and the engineer. But what is most important is having a crew chief and engineer that work really good together and see eye to eye and can communicate. And that's what I've been very fortunate to have with Randolph and Mike Mullins. They do a really good job, and they really get along, and they really understand each other. But even more so than that, it's just the whole group is one. Even Robert Huffman, our car chief, he's basically a second crew chief with all he's done and what he knows. And so having just all that there with you to help throughout the weekend, when you have three different perspectives that are all very good ones, it's outstanding to have. So I would definitely say the crew chief, the engineer, and the car chief all working in sync and together is definitely very important.
Well, I don't want to get you in trouble in any hot water with anybody you work with, but it's kind of an interesting dynamic. Obviously the driver is very important and the crew chief is very important, but it seems kind of like the engineers are kind of starting to get their way into the whole thing, and people are starting to say, well, we need to invest in good engineers.
Well, yeah, the engineers do a great deal of work and putting together these packages that we come up with and getting them, starting from zero sometimes and having to go out on the deep end and find something. And they do a good job of picking things up and working on them. But it's ultimately the crew chief's decision, and that's what's great about crew chiefs is that it's great, but it's a burden because it all rides on the crew chief's shoulders. There's one that have to be the decision makers at the end of the day and make that decision that's either going to win you the race or lose it for you. So that's a lot on Doug's shoulders, but he does a very good job on it. And you know what? I do what the crew chief says. He tells me to go in the corner and turn right and head onto the wall. I'll do what he says. And that's just the relationship we got to have.
Yep.
I trust him completely. And if he says, all right, we're going to stay out and try and run this thing out on fuel mileage, or it's whatever it is, I'm going to listen to him. And it's gotten us this far, and it's done great. It's great to have a crew chief that's just that outstanding, and the total trust I have in him is a lot.
We're getting ready to head, or actually you're getting ready to head to Iowa Speedway for the American Ethanol 200. This is coming Friday. Winning your race at Dover, does that help you with your confidence when going back to Iowa Speedway?
Winning definitely helps confidence a lot. I don't think it was going to change my perspective on how good we were going to run at Iowa. They are two different racetracks by a lot. They're both pretty high speed, though, but I knew we would have a really good shot at Iowa. Doug's won there before with Ryan Blaney. So I knew we were going to have a good shot there no matter what. It's just a matter of, us deciding, comes back to the crew chief, deciding the right package and where we want to have our strengths and weaknesses. So we'll just see when we get there. I think we got a really good shot at it no matter what racetrack we're at, no matter what weekend. But I'm really excited to get to Iowa Speedway and see how much the track has changed from last year. I definitely noticed the changes for the Xfinity race from this year, and I'm really excited to see how much we can move around.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting you go with that form of answer, because that leads me to my next question, which, crew chiefs, they always talk about crew chiefs having their notebook and marking off little notes about what worked and what didn't work. Do you have a notebook? Maybe it's an actual physical notebook. Maybe it's a portion of your brain that records what worked and what didn't work during a race.
It comes back to, having a great crew chief and engineer again. Michael got me lined out on being able to do driver debriefs after each race. Not only does this help the crew chief and the engineer and everybody else on the team understand, kind of recap what happened on the weekend, but it also helps me to remember these things better because in my dirt racing days, you load up and head on to the next race, and sometimes, you forget about what happened unless you do take notes, which we did. But having my own form of driver notes allows me to store things, and I can kind of write things down and exit them out of my mind and, save them on my computer or on paper. And when we get back next year, it's kind of a good thing to have to glance at and to remember what went wrong for us, what went right, and learn from that.
One last question before we let you go. If there was to be a Mount Rushmore of racing, who would be on your Mount Rushmore?
Well, I would have to go with, on the left, Steve Kinzer. In the middle, it is a tough one because, there's just so many good racers from that long ago. But a guy that meant a lot to everyone, and it would either have, in the center, it'd either have to be Richard Petty or Dale Earnhardt. And on the right, I don't know. I'm trying to get a little bit of every world, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I got dirt and I got asphalt. I really don't follow on IndyCar and Formula One. I might have to go with dirt again, but I really wouldn't know who to pick. I'll just leave that as kind of a mystery. I can't make a decision there.
All right, I tell you what. Next time we talk to you, I'm going to ask you again. Let's have an answer, okay?
I'll try and work on that for you. I apologize.
No, don't worry about it. It's okay. I kind of threw it on you. That is a tough one because you don't want to leave anybody off there and offend anybody. Tyler Reddick, driver of the number 19, Brad Keselowski, Ford F-150. Best of luck Friday, June 19th at the American Ethanol 200 at Iowa Speedway. Good to talk to you again, Tyler.
Thank you very much for having me.
So again, get your tickets at iowaspeedway.com for this Friday's race for the American Ethanol 200. Then the USAC Silver Crown Racing will take off on Saturday. iowaspeedway.com is where you can get all of the tickets and information. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in turn number 3 to talk to local dirt racer, driver of the 01F, Jeff Fink will join us to talk about his wreck, his scary wreck at Shelby County Speedway on June 6th. This is The Front Stretch presented by Joe's Karting on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
Are you looking to book your next outing? Look no further than Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Located just north of Bass Pro Shop, Joe's Karting can handle outings of well over 100-plus people. Bachelor parties, corporate outings, team building, birthday parties, and much more. Give Buddy a call today and reserve your outing. Joe's will even work with local restaurants to cater your event. Book yours today at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K. It's time to get to Joe's and find out what everyone already knows.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Quaker Steak and Lube is the official watering hole for the Front Stretch and the best place to catch all the NASCAR action today. Open at 11 a.m. with delivery available to Council Bluffs.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Feather the brake and get back to the gas. Dan and Dirk are headed into turn 3 on the Front Stretch.
Heading into turn number 3 here on the Front Stretch. We appreciate you sticking around and talking with us. And joining us on the phone now is the driver of the Schillerberg Trucking 01F out of Southwest and South Central Iowa, Jeff Fink, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Oh, not too bad.
You're doing okay though, right? You're healing. You're all right after that wreck at Shelby County a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yeah, I'm a little sore. I guess I pulled a tendon in my left arm. Eyes are all bloodshot yet. I broke a bunch of blood vessels in my eyes, but I can see all right, and I'm just a little sore everywhere, but I'll be all right.
Yeah, I saw that picture that your wife posted on Facebook of your eyes, and God, you look like a walking dead.
Yeah, yeah, it's a little scary.
You have a little daughter, don't you?
Yeah, she's about 2.5.
Yeah, is she a little freaked out by the way your eyes look right now?
Surprisingly, no, she ain't. I'm kind of surprised.
Well, that's good. That's good. Well, in case the fans are kind of wanting to follow along, if you haven't found it on Facebook yet, you could check out the video that a lot of people have posted of your battle with Shannon Anderson at Shelby County Speedway on June 6th. Can you take us through those last few laps? It was a great battle between you two. So can you give me your perspective of the last couple of laps?
Well, I guess, I was kind of amazed that I actually had led as many laps as I had. I mean, usually on restarts I don't do so hot, and we had like 2 or 3 restarts, and I had to lead the whole time, and I was kind of amazed. I was just waiting for Shannon to come like he usually does. As of the last lap, I messed up a few times going out of 4, and I kind of lost some ground there, I think, and that's why Shannon got next to me. Coming out of 4, I guess I seen him coming next to me, and I kind of wanted to not give him a whole lot of room to race. I was trying to get the win, so we were door to door. I don't know that he got into the wall for sure or not. I don't know. I don't believe he did, but he might have. I don't know. But I know he didn't have a lot of room there, and we just kind of raced till the checkered, and unfortunately, I flipped over. So
yeah, you guys did kind of bump a little bit, and you had the advantage. Your car ended up sliding in front of his, and it looked to me, and give me your perspective of it, what you've seen of it, and you being in the car, kind of looked like just one of your tires dug into the ground, and your car ended up flipping over because of that.
Yeah, I would say that's the initial. That's what happened. Yeah.
How many times did you go around?
Well, I don't know. I've been told at least 10. I don't know for sure, but
you weren't counting when you were going around?
No, I wasn't counting. I was just waiting for it to be over with. It was a rough ride.
Do you remember much of the flipping? Some people it blacks out of their memory, but do you remember much of it?
Oh yeah, I know. I know when it first started, and I just tell myself, oh, this ain't going to be good. And then next thing I know, my hand's sticking out the window. I don't know what happened. I'm sure if the net fell down or what happened. I knew I had to get it pulled back in before I rolled on it. And then it just kept rolling and finally come to a stop. And I couldn't see very good. It was all cloudy and just blurred vision, and I couldn't really move much. I was just kind of in a daze, really. So
then I believe they ended up transporting you to the hospital and getting you checked out. But you've come away pretty well clean. Like you said, you had an MRI and you've got a torn bicep?
It's actually a pulled tendon, actually. Okay. Tore tendon, I guess. But so yeah, nothing too serious. But
pretty lucky to walk away with just that, I guess.
Yeah, very lucky, yeah.
Well, for the most important question, how's the car?
Well, to be honest with you, it's still sitting on the trailer in front of my house. I haven't really looked at it too close. It don't look too bad. Quite a few people have looked at it themselves at the track on Saturday, and I don't believe it messed the cage up, really, just some front bars and obviously all the suspension and rear end, I believe, and just radiator, just body is totally gone, but I think it's repairable. So.
And I believe is that your backup car?
Yeah, it is. I actually only drove it 3 different times and actually got a win out of it, so I was pretty happy with that. It was pretty fast on Saturday, I know that.
Yeah, it was very fast, and I believe you had to go to your backup car because you ended up rolling your primary?
Yeah, I rolled my 2013 Penetrator, rolled that first night in Harlan there about 8 times going through turn 3 there. So that was a fun experience as well.
Jeff, we got to get this figured out. What's going on at Shelby County Speedway there? You got a rolling habit going on here.
Yeah, unfortunately I do. I know it's no fun. I know that. The last one wasn't nothing like this one, though. This was, I didn't have a full containment seat, which I recommend everyone gets one of them. That's what's in my main car is a full containment. And this one I just didn't plan on driving much, and so I wouldn't run on without one now. So. Well,
we're glad you're okay. What's your plans for the rest of the season? Maybe take a week or 2 off and get the car fixed up, or are we going to be bouncing back pretty quickly?
Well, I run Denison and Harlan both weekly, and Denison has an off week this coming up Friday. So I don't know. I might try to make Harlan Saturday. I got my other car ready to roll, so hope not roll literally, but roll on the track.
Let's not say that.
4 wheels, yeah. But hopefully, I don't know. I might try to make it back Saturday night, but my arm feels like it does. It probably won't. I'll probably wait till the following Friday and run in Denison. So
yeah, it's probably kind of tough to actually turn a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah, it hurts. It hurts to do any movement with my arm, really. So
luckily, you've got the other arm to continue to make sure you can drink those beers, though.
Yeah, you got that right.
Be a switched beer drinker. There we go.
Yep.
Well, you going to do any spectating at Crawford County on Friday night for the World of Outlaws race?
I probably should go, but no, I'm going to hang out with my daughter, I think, at home. So
I don't blame you. Get a Friday off every once in a while, so spend it with the family.
That's right, yep.
Jeff Fink, driver of the 01F Schillerberg Trucking car, the hobby stock at Shelby County and Crawford County. Appreciate you joining us on the show, and best of luck the rest of the season, sir.
Yep, thank you, Dan.
Have a good one.
Yep, bye.
If you haven't seen it yet, we will link it on Facebook so you guys could see it on Sunday. Scary accident, and one of those that I think you could almost hear the crowd gasp as they expected Jeff to be hurt pretty seriously, but he's obviously fine. Just talked to us there. Just a little bit of damage in his body. He's going to be healing up. So another one of those that, thank God, the safety equipment is there to keep these guys safe and sound. And even though the car's damaged and Jeff's a little banged up, he's alive. And out of respect for not getting any rumors started, I didn't want to really get into the situation with Shannon, but it kind of sounded to me like he doesn't blame Shannon for anything. It was just a racing thing. And honestly, anybody out there that's talking about how bad of or mean of a driver that Shannon is, just understand that when you talk like that, you only hurt our sport. So please just go away and speak lovely of our awesome little sport that we like to go to on Friday and Saturday nights. All right, coming up in turn number 4, we're going to talk with Chad Robb, Mr. Fantasy. He's going to give you some tips for Michigan today. Green flag action, the coverage starts at 11 on FS1 and MRN with green flag just after noon. All right, so we'll be back in turn number 4 to talk to Mr. Fantasy, Chad Robb. This is The Front Stretch on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
We have all been there before. Broken car part in your hand and some snot-nosed punk behind the counter has no idea what he is talking about, but he guarantees that this part will fix your car. You pay an arm and a leg for the replacement, get it home, and sure enough, it doesn't fit your car. Now, learn from your mistake and give an experienced salesperson at Kosiski Auto Parts a call today at 402-731-4592. Kosiski Auto Parts will get you back on the road with your arms and legs still attached.
Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs has taken a page out of IMCA's rulebook and gone crate. These brand new low-emission engines will still have you white-knuckling it all through the Metro's fastest indoor facility. Joe's Karting is now friendly for all skill levels with their brand new Honda-powered engines. It's time to get to Joe's today and find out what drivers like Jack Dover, Shaylee Bate, and Andrew Kosiski have known for years. Located in Council Bluffs and online at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K.
It's checkers or wreckers as we enter turn 4 on The Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs.
Just about ready to wrap this baby up, heading into turn number 4, brought to you by Quaker Steak and Lube in Council Bluffs. All the racing action today on the big screens at Quaker Steak and Lube. Is it Quicken Loans 400 today, or is it Pure Michigan?
Quicken Loans.
Quicken Loans, because they get I always get confused. Chad Robb joining me in studio, Mr. Fantasy. You can find him on Facebook. All the action on Fox Sports 1 and MRN at noon today, with coverage kicking off at 11. If you don't happen to have Fox Sports 1 and you don't want to pay the extra package for it, you can always go down to Quaker Steak and Lube and enjoy a nice, cool lube tube and a bucket of wings. Can't get any better than that, and watching some NASCAR action today at Quaker Steak and Lube. Again, the action starts coverage starts at 11 with green flag action at noon. Wanted to have Chad join us in the studio today to kind of continue talking about the fantasy picks. We got a lot that's happened the last couple of weeks, so I kind of wanted to go over the Pick'ems contest a little bit. But before we do that, let's talk about tips for Michigan. And you've got some really good tips you've been sending us if you're a part of that, and on your Facebook page too, giving us tips for how to pick the right drivers.
You pretty much got to go with the hot drivers right now. You can't really go with stats from last year because so much has changed, since the last race at Michigan. But you want to keep with the hot drivers, Kevin Harvick, Jimmy Johnson, Kurt Busch, Martin Truex. But you can't use all those guys every week, so you got to know who the sleepers are for Michigan as well.
And your sleeper for the last couple of weeks, you've been high on Clint Boyer, but man, it just seems like he's not getting it. There's just something going wrong with Michael Waltrip Racing. They're not over that top 10 hurdle.
Yeah, they changed crew chiefs this week, and I really don't think that's going to help. I think they really need some help from Joe Gibbs Racing, and I don't think Joe Gibbs is really willing to help them out too much.
I wouldn't really say that they're lighting the world on fire, so maybe they don't have much to offer.
No,
I mean,
not.
Listen, Carl's got to win and Denny's got to win, but the rest of them, they're up there, but they're not. You're not lighting them. You're not looking at them like, oh my God, look at Martin Truex Jr. Oh, look at Jimmy Johnson, obviously with 4 wins, and look at this guy and that guy. And you're not talking about a lot of Joe Gibbs Racing. You're not talking about a lot of Toyota drivers, really.
No, not really. What you are talking about is Joe Gibbs running one lap faster, and they're able to qualify up front. They just can't put together those consecutive laps, to keep them up front. And I think that's their problem.
So Michigan was repaved in 2012, and lightning fast is kind of a slow term for this track. We'll see speeds. Actually, I don't know what we'll see because of the new rules package, the new lower horsepower. But last year we were seeing speeds of up to 225 miles into the corner. That's ridiculously fast.
Yeah, it is. It's really fast, and I think you're going to see a lot of one-groove racing. It's not going to have them multiple grooves until, a couple winners get to take their toll on the track and everything.
Talk to me about driver ratings at Michigan. Give me your top 5.
Okay, well, if you go off of just driver ratings, you got to go with Joey Logano. He's got the best. He's also got the second-best average finish at Michigan since the repave. And then you got to look at Harvick. He's right up there. He's Mr. Number 2, I call him, because he's finished 4 races in a row at Michigan in second place. He also finished second at California this year, which is very similar to Michigan. And then you got to look at Jimmy Johnson. He's a past winner at Michigan. He won the last race. And then how can you count out Martin Truex?
Yeah.
He's led the most laps in the last 4 races. You can't really count him out.
Greg Biffle, he has a history of being good at Michigan, but boy, Roush has had an even worse history of disappearing during races.
I think if Biffle's going to get to the front, he's going to have to do what he did at Charlotte. He's going to have to gamble in the pits and try to win this thing on fuel mileage.
Would you risk it if you had maybe better picks? Would you save them for later in the season? Because, again, our Pick'ems contest is set up that you get 2 picks in a driver in the regular season, and then you get a pick in the postseason of that same driver. But you can carry one of those 2 regular season picks into the postseason. Would you save a pick, or would you go with Biffle?
No, I'd save the top drivers. There's one driver this week that stands out over the rest. He's hasn't done much in his NASCAR career, but the one thing that he has done is conquered the 2-mile tracks, and that's Paul Menard. Paul Menard's finished 4 consecutive races at Michigan in the 4th place. And then at California this year, which is similar to Michigan, he finished 4th. I think you could sneak a top 5 out of Menard this week.
And top 5s aren't bad. I mean, honestly, as much as people hate to hear the drivers talk about it, we're in fantasy league. We're a points game.
Yes.
You got to get points. And there's a couple of Pick'ems contestants and Brock Ackerman comes to mind. He's leading with the most points, but he's in 16th because he only has 1 win in the season. So he's kind of stressing right now, trying to figure out how to get himself that 2 wins or 3 wins on the season to be able to lock himself into the postseason. What else for Michigan should we kind of keep our eyes out for?
I'd say fuel mileage. This race has a history of coming down to fuel mileage, so you might have some of the top drivers that go out there and lead all the laps all day long, but you'll have that one driver that plays the fuel mileage game and sneaks to the top, and the first driver that comes to mind is Brad Keselowski. They love to gamble. This is his home track. Yep. He wants to win here worse than ever, and I wouldn't be surprised if he snuck something in.
And I want to correct myself. Brock Ackerman sitting 18th in the Pick'ems contest, 506 points. He's got the most points, but only one win on the season. Top 15 make it in. First you're ranked on wins, then you're ranked on points. So that's the way the Pick'ems contest rolls out. So we've got Michigan today. We take a weekend off for Father's Day. Then it's Sonoma, Daytona, and Kentucky. Then Loudon. Next 5 races, kind of what are we looking at as far as what do we want to watch out for the Pick'ems contest?
Okay, for the next couple races, Sonoma and Daytona, you want to stay away from the top drivers. You got to take a sleeper there. Sonoma, you're looking at A.J. Allmendinger. Jamie McMurray is really good on the road courses. And even Clint Boyer, I know he hasn't done much, but he's pretty good on the road courses. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't take a lot of horsepower to get around Sonoma.
Right.
And then at Daytona, you want to take another sleeper there. Now, Denny Hamlin, you might want to use him twice this year, but I would roll the dice with him at Daytona. He's been running really good on the restrictor plate tracks. Or maybe Casey Mears, he's another one. He's got a couple consecutive top 5 finishes at the restrictor plate tracks. He'd be another good one.
Then we got several Kentucky and Loudon, and the regular season wraps up. Can you believe it? We're almost halfway. We're halfway through the regular season, and now we're on the back end of we're on the back half of it.
It goes by quick,
man. We were just talking about the 500 it seems like just a couple of weeks ago. Get everybody ready for that. Before we know it, we're 14 races in as of today. Chad, how can people follow you on Facebook? Where can they get more information from you?
Then go to Fantasy NASCAR Tips by Chad. And you can also Google me. Just Google Fantasy NASCAR Chad, and you'll get my Bleacher Report page, DraftKings, Race Review Online, Speedway Digest.
Yeah, the amount of fantasy tips. I mean, obviously you help us out with the Pick'ems contest, and then you also help out with the NASCAR Fantasy Leagues, the Yahoo Fantasy Leagues. There's a lot of leagues that you post on the tips for NASCAR tips from Chad that whatever league you're in, you're going to get some advantage out of by following him.
Yeah, I just started last week doing the DraftKings fantasy, posting articles on Bleacher Report for that, and giving my picks for that. And I tell you what, in the last couple of weeks, they've been doing pretty good.
If you were a betting man, you think Kyle Busch is going to make it into the chase?
Yes.
You think so?
Kentucky. He'll win Kentucky. Ooh. And then I think he's going to sneak in there. He ain't going to get in by a lot of points, but he'll sneak in there.
All right, Chad Robb. You can find him on Facebook, facebook.com/NASCAR tips from Chad. Just Google him, and you can, or if Google him if that doesn't work on Facebook. Chad, always do appreciate you joining us.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, coming up today, the Quicken Loans 400 on Fox Sports 1 and MRN. Green flag at noon. Race coverage starts at 11 p.m. or excuse me, 11 a.m. It's been a long show. 11 a.m. Make sure you join us next weekend. We've got another great show lined up for you. Father's Day special that day. We're also going to try to get Ben Shelton of MSR Mafia to join us, and we're working on Ryan Gustin to talk to us about defending his 2013 Alphabet Soup Championship at I-29 Speedway. Obviously, the 2014 race was rained out, so he is the defending race champion from 2013. Want to say thank you so much to Curtis Spracklin of I-29 Dragway, Tyler Reddick of Brad Keselowski Racing, and Jeff Fink of the 01F Fink Racing Machine here in Southwest Iowa at Shelby County Speedway, Crawford County Speedway, and of course to Chad for joining us on the show today. We'll see you next weekend. This is The Front Stretch on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Quaker Steak and Lube is the official watering hole for the front stretch and the best place to catch all the NASCAR action today. Open at 11 a.m. with delivery available to Council Bluffs.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Are you looking to book your next outing? Look no further than Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Located just north of Bass Pro Shop, Joe's Karting can handle outings of well over 100 plus people. Bachelor parties, corporate outings, team building, birthday parties, and much more. Give Buddy a call today and reserve your outing. Joe's will even work with local restaurants to cater your event. Book yours today at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K. It's time to get to Joe's and find out what everyone already knows.